What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Disneyland here in Anaheim, California, a park that I absolutely love. I'm finally back in my home state after so much traveling, so it's probably a little unusual seeing me in a setting that is not Europe or some other place, but I will say I'm happy to be back home, and I'm definitely happy to be back at Disneyland because it has been over 2 years since I've been to this park. As a matter of fact, the last time I was at Disneyland was when Splash Mountain was around, and before Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was introduced to the park, so there's lots of new stuff here. I'm joined today with my buddy Jack.
What's up, guys? I would argue we're at the best park in America. The best park.
Bold take, but I actually agree. I think it is that good. Now, Jack, this is your first time on one of my vlogs. However, you guys probably know him because he is now a co-host for the Dash Cast, which is our new podcast, and that's been really fun so far.
Oh yeah, it's been a great time, and we're gonna keep grinding it. Weekly episodes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned for more of this.
Also, shout out to the homie Ethan. This is his friend over here. He got us in. He is a cast member that works here at Disneyland as well. So, guys, I can't tell you how excited I am for Tiana's Bayou adventure, specifically the reimagined Splash Mountain. So much new theming on that, so many new animatronics. It looks fantastic. And as well as that, we're going to be highlighting a lot of the top rides in the resort as well, because there's just so much here. The depth in their lineup is fantastic. So let's head on in the park and I'll give you guys some stats. We're walking up to the main plaza. We've got Disneyland Park on the left, California Adventure on the right. We do have a park hopper, but we're gonna head into Disneyland first. This is the better of the two parks by a long shot in my opinion, but California Adventure is certainly fun. And there's also a lot of news surrounding Disneyland Forward, which is a huge expansion to the resort, which we'll talk about later as well. California Adventure, I would argue, is getting more help than Disneyland is, which is needed. Walking through Main Street for the first time in 2 freaking years, ridiculous. Look at this. This park has a vibe that is just unparalleled. You don't see it anywhere else, except for maybe other Disney parks. Oh man, this park, it's so nice to be back. Opened in 1955, of course known as the happiest place on earth, and you have the castle straight down the midway here. And it's actually funny, if you've never been to Disneyland before, you may be surprised by how tiny this castle is, especially if you've been to Magic Kingdom or one of the Disney parks overseas. The castle is usually a lot bigger, but this one's the original. I get why they wouldn't want to change it. We are going to start in Adventureland, home of Indiana Jones Adventure, one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. Let's do it. This thing is looking like 45-minute standby, but in Disney terms, that's really like 30. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'll take a wait like that. It's not too bad. Definitely worth it for Indiana Jones. Man, this has to be my favorite queue line in Disneyland. This is so cool. You're like passing through a bunch of booby traps. There's like cool random effects that kind of scare you a little bit. It's so awesome. And then you have this very iconic pre-show here at the far end. It's a little dated, but it's still cool.
Hello, oh, my friend.
Indiana Jones, baby. One of the best rides here.
You seek the future. I will lift the curtain of time. It is your destiny.
Next time, you're on your own.
Woo! I cannot begin to tell you guys how unbelievably incredible that was. That is insane. Top 3 ride in the resort. I would also go as far as to say top 10 ride just period I've ever done. That's how good it is.
It's so good. The refurbishment they did on it last year definitely helped. It filled in some of the dead space towards the end of the ride.
Correct.
And they got everything refreshed, looking good, and everything's pretty reliable. Like, all the effects were working for us. And when everything's working on that, it's incredible, and it might be my favorite ride in the resort. At least it's right there with Rise of the Resistance. It's that good.
All right, this was a priority for us. We're heading into the new Mickey's Toontown. Not so new, actually. It opened in 2023. The whole area got a refresh. It's new for me. Oh, this looks great. This looks so much nicer than it did. Oh my gosh, look at this fountain over here. The building style, the music. Of course, this area is now anchored by Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is just a phenomenal fit for this park. Look at this fountain. I'm so glad they kept Toontown and just improved upon it. I thought they were gonna get rid of it for a while and replace it with something, but this is sick. Yeah, let's get a ride on Mickey and Minnie's. 45-minute wait, I'll do that too. Easy. It was all started by a mouse. This is very different, this queue line, from the one in Florida. So I'm just geeking out, enjoying the differences. Steamboat Willie, that is OG, if I do say so myself. Well, absolutely. I would argue that that's copyright free now. I believe they are cooked. Oh, they were definitely cooked. Absolutely. I will say this effect is so ridiculous. I do not understand how they managed to do that.
Hey, you making me up? Come on, better look late. What could possibly go wrong?
Good on the trumpet like that.
Ready and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, excellent! You're all welcome.
Well, sure.
That explains why I wear pants and Pluto NASA.
What?
In time, and thanks for riding around the park.
That's new. Oh, that's definitely new.
Guess I'll just press all the buttons and see what happens.
I like that extra scene. That's cool. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible. One of the highlights of the Disneyland Resort, having done that for the first time. It was so similar to the one in Florida with just a few differences, but the differences really added a lot in my opinion. That was really cool.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about them? Because you're the
sure.
Disney guy.
So the biggest difference that I love about this ride is that cool down tunnel. The climax of the ride is up here, and it brings it down to a nice ending. That's probably the biggest difference. And then also the sewer scene, it explains how the octopus opens the drain and gets you into the sewerage. And then also there's just minor things about it, like you don't miss total plot points like you do in Disney World. For example, in the fourth car at Disney World, you can miss the scene where Mickey and Minnie fly out of the volcano and land and say, oh, definitely can stop us now, but here, everyone sees it. So it's just a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, they kind of worked out some of the kinks with this one. And also, the most obvious difference is that the queue on this one is absolutely incredible. I would argue it's probably my second favorite queue in the resort behind Indy. Florida's is very good, but I would say this just kind of fixes some of those issues and makes it a more complete experience.
I also love the shop. Like it pays homage to Bob Gurr with the train, one of his creations prior to the monorail that didn't come to fruition, the Doodle Bug, and they have it for sale here.
Okay, yeah.
So
I literally did not notice it until you pointed it out that there was a train going through here. That's pretty freaking cool.
it's called Engineer Souvenir. So
That's awesome.
pretty sick.
Yep.
Where do you guys think this ranks in the resort?
At the very least, it's definitely top 10, but I could see an argument for top 5, honestly.
I would probably put it like 4 or 5 personally.
Very good.
I love it. I love it.
For me, as of right now, definitely top 5, and I'm really excited to see how Tiana's fits into that list as well. But then, no, it's just brilliant. The trackless technology, it's utilized so well on that. You have so many different rooms that are also huge. They're so large, there's a lot to look at. So many animatronics that are very advanced, very beautiful. It's a gorgeous ride, just the way it was built. I absolutely adore it like you guys. I just think it's amazing.
In my personal opinion, I would say they utilize the trackless technology better on this than they do on Rise.
Wow.
I don't think that this is better than Rise, but I think it takes advantage of the ride system more, if that makes sense.
Sure, I can definitely see that argument. Yeah, it's awesome.
Here's the Step Brothers. We got yourself a reference here.
Step Brothers reference in just one of these random houses. That's so cool.
And what Ethan was saying is Step Brothers isn't even a Disney property, which kind of makes it even better that they threw in an Easter egg there. I like it.
Yeah, this area looks so much better than it used to, and there's lots of Easter eggs in here. And look at this. This used to be Gadget's Go Coaster, now it's Chip 'n Dale's Go Coaster. This re-theme looks great, and this ride holds a special place in my heart. It was possibly the first coaster I ever rode. And of course, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is not the only ride in Toontown. You've also got, if I spin the camera around, Roger's Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, which has always been an underrated hidden gem at Disneyland. I've always enjoyed this one. I'm so glad they kept it when they reimagined the land, because it really is a great ride. And it's also a childhood favorite. I did this one so much when I was a kid. Whoa, there's like a fireworks blast effect over here. Guys, there's so many nooks and crannies. Roger Rabbit absolutely has one of the coolest queue lines in the park. Look at this. If you knock on this door in the queue, there he is.
If you ain't got the password, you ain't coming in. So hamstring.
That's actually fantastic detail. This is such a cool ride because you do have a wheel, and this is interactive. This does spin, correlates with the wheel. Look at the theming, guys. It's so cool. It's just quirky. Oh, we're spinning a lot. Oh my gosh. Whoa! Here's the ending. Get us out of here, Rabbit. Whoa! That was sick.
Underrated, bro.
That ride is so fantastic. It's one of the biggest gems in the Disneyland Resort. It gets absolutely no praise, but it's excellent.
Criminally underrated. The queue is amazing, and it fits into the Toontown theme just about as good as any ride does. And I just love the spinning aspect too. It just makes it feel like such a crazy, fast-paced ride. It's spot on with the theme, and I love it. It's also a decently long ride.
Of all the secondary tier dark rides in the park, you know, like the Fantasyland style rides, that's my favorite one. I think it beats Mr. Toad. I think it beats Snow White. It's so much fun. We are walking into the refreshed Bayou Country area, home of course to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which I'm just now seeing run for my first time. And this looks absolutely spectacular. And I actually saw Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Florida. That was fully built, but it hadn't yet opened. I missed it by just a couple of weeks. I have heard this one is actually marginally better than the one in Florida. And on top of that, I'm just excited to be riding one of the two in general. That's huge for me. That's absolutely amazing. I loved Splash Mountain. That was always a favorite of mine. And I was very upset to hear that they were going to retheme it. But I have heard great things, and I am very optimistic it could be close in quality to Splash Mountain. So they are on a virtual queue system. You have to apply. There's 3 different times throughout the day. So you are not guaranteed a ride just by coming to Disneyland, but we are pretty sure we can get it. Guys, look at how beautiful that is. I think I marginally preferred the exterior of Splash Mountain, but this doesn't fall too far behind to the point where it's a critique or anything, because I will say they did not spare expenses with this ride from what it seems. This is absolutely gorgeous. The landscaping on the mountain is just stunning. There's so much theming. It's actually kind of ridiculous. What's about to happen?
We are about to hopefully get a boarding group.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And then we gotta just quickly transfer over and try to get Haunted Mansion Holiday right here.
Because the queue is closed for Haunted Mansion, they're redoing it, so it is virtual queue only. We haven't been on Haunted Mansion in a very long time.
They drop at the same time, so we basically have to rush to get both.
Yep.
Show the viewers what the strat is.
All right, so essentially what I do is it can't be too precise. You just gotta get lucky. I just spam this button as it gets a little bit closer, but I mean, I'm gonna wait until it hits about 30 seconds and I start doing that, and then usually it works, so we'll see.
Bang.
Here you go.
Got that. Now we gotta go get the... No! Wait.
What happened to that?
Oh, because we can only do one at a time.
So you can't.
It's all right. I mean, we got Tiana's.
We'll get the next one later.
What's our boarding group?
93, so we might get a night ride.
Awesome.
Oh, let's go.
For lunch, we're going to be eating at Tiana's Palace, which is also a newly rethemed restaurant to coincide with Bayou Country, where of course you have Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This used to be the French Market, which was always one of my favorite places to eat in the park. So the fact that they kind of brought this back, and there's lots of new food options here, I'm super excited. Guys, look at this restaurant. It's so beautiful in here. They killed it. Look at that thing. That's a tank. What did we get?
This is insane. The Cajun half-spiced chicken.
With baked macaroni and cheese, my favorite by far. Oh, it's incredible, dude. It's actually fantastic.
It's fire. It's fire.
I would argue the baked macaroni and cheese needs to be tried.
Sure.
That's my favorite thing. That's incredible. Coleslaw? Pretty good too.
I would substitute it for Texas toast personally, but that's just me.
Shout out Cane's. We're heading inside Disney's California Adventure, the second gate to the Disneyland Resort, which opened in 2001. While not nearly as good as the Castle Park, it's still a good time. You have some really nice quality attractions in this place. We'll have a brief stop in here, do a couple of rides, and then head back to the Castle Park. Now, even though the cohesion in this park is a little messy at times, I will say I love their Main Street area, Buena Vista Street. It is really nice, very charming, and reminds me more of the Castle Park, I will say. One of the rides I'll willingly highlight for sure is Radiator Springs Racers, located in Cars Land. This is just an absolutely gorgeous area with a lot of holiday decor as well. You can see some of the rock work out there. This ride is absolutely phenomenal. Oh, this theming is just completely ridiculous. It's inspired a lot by Monument Valley in Utah, which of course is Ornament Valley in the films. And this entire ride, which I guess includes the themed area as well, cost over $200 million to build, making it one of the most expensive rides that Disney has ever done. This one, a cool hack, get into the single rider line. It's always a lot shorter than the standby line. Let's go! Radiator Springs Racers. Jack is on the other car over there, so I think we're gonna race him.
Slow down! You're not racing yet. Just follow me into town.
Howdy. Here for the big race, huh? It's gonna be fun.
Welcome to Race Day.
Radiator Springs.
Champion needs speed.
And style.
Luigi, give our friend your best. Pick up.
Such an incredible ride. Radiator Springs Racers, the way it combines a dark ride section in the first half, so much theming, and then you have a thrill ride in the second half. You are going fast. It almost feels like a roller coaster to me.
Yep.
It's so fantastic.
Yeah, phenomenal ride. The animatronics are just insane. They're massive. Yeah, I just love that you get to go through all the sets, the dark ride portion, and then you get to go fast at the end. It's a very cool ride.
Look what's next. Incredicoaster. We are in Pixar Pier getting on this awesome Intamin looping coaster. Very, very cool ride. Also one of the most iconic rides, I would argue, in the world. It opened originally in 2001. It features a launch and a lift hill, which is very unique. A lot of you may be familiar. This used to be California Screamin'. This was my first big coaster ever. I would not be a roller coaster enthusiast today without this ride. And while I miss the old soundtrack that was on Screamin', I will say I like the retheme and I enjoy Incredicoaster a lot for what it is. And like with several others in the resort, Incredicoaster does also have a single rider line, so be sure to take advantage of that. You will not be waiting anywhere near as long as the standby queue. Guys, we scored the front on Incredicoaster. Let's go.
And the baby is gone.
Edna?
Dash, go get him.
Hold on!
3, 2, 1, here we go. Oh! Oh my God! Incredicoaster, it's flawed, but overall still pretty fun, and it's so long. That's definitely my favorite thing about it. It feels like it never ends. I will say, I'm surprised. That was a rain ride. It was drizzling, so I don't know if you could see. The camera got a little bit wet. It was definitely fun. The loop is very intense and quite rough, but I think the roughness almost adds to the intensity in a sense. Theming is just okay. The ride could track better in my opinion, but still enjoyable for what it is. You like it?
Yeah, it's fine. I do like that it's a crazy long ride. Like one of the longest coasters in America is just absurd, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't really do much, but it's fun. All right, Ethan.
All right, so essentially in the last clip that you saw, we were walking around the bend talking about Incredicoaster, but I secretly lured them into the best ride in the whole park, Jesse's Critter Carousel.
Oh yeah, it's intense.
I got a snake.
Think of the amount of airtime. Unbelievable.
Mark has a lot of room.
Oh, sure. How did he get us to ride this, dude?
So fun.
It's elite.
POV, you're on the Air Force One quad down. Look at how iconic that is. It's just so cool looking. Yeah, we're just taking a stroll around the park now. What's next on our list, we think?
We're gonna get Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Ooh,
Sure.
that sounds fantastic.
Sure.
There she is, the remake for Tower of Terror. While some individuals, like Jack over there, are not a fan of the re-theme, I have to say I actually really like this ride, and only marginally prefer Tower of Terror. I just think the theme is better, but in terms of the cycle, this is pretty on par for me. Jack, you have some very strong opinions.
Yeah, so I do really like the ride. I think it's pretty well done, but I do significantly prefer Tower of Terror. It is lacking some of that classic California feel that it used to have, but I do think this is a good ride, and I like that it has the randomized drop sequences. That was definitely a good addition.
So you're not nearly as pissed as I expected.
No, I'm not pissed, but
Big motivation for me to escape. I go, ouch! Ow! That was not part of the plan. What? Of course I escaped. For those of you who have not been paying attention, the name's Rocket, one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The smart one.
When Rocket unplugs you and starts things rough.
Oh by far. Yes! Yes! Oh! It's pissed! It's pissed! So fun, dude. Oh my god, that is absolutely incredible. I would argue it was fantastic. That was such a good cycle, so much airtime, like a ridiculous amount of sustained floater. It's not ejector, it's not crazy, but it's just very fun and floaty. I love that ride. I think the theming is fantastic between all the different drops. I enjoy the queue line. The pre-show is fantastic with the rocket animatronic. Yeah, it's great.
yeah, it's a fun ride. Great atmosphere with the music playing and everything, and lots of good floater. Personally, I prefer ejector airtime, which is why I prefer Tower of Terror, but I still enjoy this one. It's a good time.
All right, we are now making our way out of Disney's California Adventure back to the Castle Park because it is about time to get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure for our first ever ride. I am unbelievably excited. As you can see, it's pretty dark. Definitely a lot darker than we expected for our first ride in Tiana's, which is actually great news because we wanted a night ride in Tiana because it has a lot of really cool lighting around the ride. But the reason it's darker than anticipated is because the ride has arguably been down more than it's been up today. It just has had so many problems. So at this point in time, I'm just hoping that it remains open and that we can get our ride because I am eager, guys. I gotta tell you. I mean, this is like the point that I'm vlogging today at all. Of course, I love Disneyland. I love the rest of the rides here, but this is a big deal. Let's get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. All right, it is just about time. It is very dark out here, but this atmosphere is incredible. Wow, I am so excited. Bayou country. What's your expectations looking like right now?
Maybe 5th or 6th best ride in the resort.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Wow, check out some of this queue line theming. Looks freaking delicious over here. I will say, as a queue, I think this is marginally better than Splash Mountains. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of theming.
Lots of Easter eggs too.
Yes.
The homie Ethan is going to tell us about the story, the plot of Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
So essentially, Tiana's Palace, which is in New Orleans Square, she starts that restaurant off. It's a booming success, and Mardi Gras actually wants her to cater the event, so we gotta go find a band for the party, right?
So, just a heads up before your ride aboard Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I've decided to swap out my footage for TPM Vid's point of view video. For the record, he's an absolutely fantastic YouTuber, so definitely go check him out. The reason being is on my POV, it was too dark to see any of the details in the outdoor parts of the ride, and then in regards to the audio, a lot of water got into my speakers, diminishing the quality. Plus, I really like TPM's multiple angles of the animatronics, as I believe it'll give you guys a better sense of what it's like to ride the attraction, so enjoy.
Hey, y'all! Thanks for helping me look for musicians for our party tonight. Louis, they're on their way. Hey, y'all!
Hello? Any musicians out here who want to jam? The party's about to begin. Any musicians around here?
You don't? Well, that's all right, Louis. We're just hitting our stride.
Tiana was right. There are musicians out here, and they are cooking.
They can play, no doubt. We'll ask them to join the band for sure.
Tiana, you were right. The Bayou's got just what we need.
I'm asking all of them to play at the party. But we've got to keep searching high and low.
How long can I go?
Oh my God!
Y'all small and strong.
Been there, done that. But you found the sound that was crazy.
Get your bed again, cause the bigger you are, the bigger the splash you'll make in the party. Now let's get you to the party. You'll get there in no time, guaranteed. Tiana sure knows how to make a party special. Just fill it up with special people like you.
There you have it. That was a ride on Tiana's Bayou Adventure after a lot of anticipation, and I have to say it was really fun. Definitely great, and probably about what I was expecting, actually. I would say definitely it does not really compare to Splash Mountain for me personally. Considering Splash Mountain is no longer with us, it's still probably the best log flume operating in the world. I don't think there's one that's gonna top that. That was great. It was a worthy successor. Again, not necessarily better, but I think anyone that has never been on Splash Mountain, if they're coming into this for the first time, they're gonna get off and say, that was phenomenal. Some of the animatronics in there were just masterfully done. There were not nearly as many as Splash Mountain, which is actually, I would say, one of the main things that I prefer from the old version of the ride. However, the ones that were here were excellent, and it's not like there weren't a lot. There still were a lot, just not nearly as much as Splash. I just think, in general, there was a little bit of open space where they could have done a little more. There also was the inclusion of screens, but it wasn't bad. The drops were just as good as ever. The finale, I would say, I like as much as Splash Mountain. That was the one part that I loved so much. I thought that was incredibly well done, and I don't think they spared any expense there. Just a few parts here and there were not nearly as good, but overall, a fantastic ride. One of the best in the park for sure.
Yeah, so this is a very fun ride. They definitely didn't half-ass this retheme, which I really appreciate, because it would have been easy for Disney to do that, you know? But the drops still hit, of course, and the animatronics are amazing. That is one thing that this ride does absolutely better than Splash Mountain, is the quality of the animatronics, obviously, because they are some of the most advanced they have ever made. They are incredible. Like the Lewis animatronics are crazy. They are so good. I also think there was a decent amount of animatronics, but like Mark said, there aren't nearly as many as Splash Mountain, so that was a downside. Personally, I still think Splash Mountain is a decent amount better. This is still like easily a top 10 ride in the resort for sure, but my main gripe with it is that I didn't think the story was quite as strong as Splash Mountain. I didn't think the energy really differed throughout the ride. It's a high energy ride, good atmosphere, but there wasn't any like emotion shift throughout the story, if that makes sense. Whereas in Splash Mountain, you have the high energy beginning where it sets the stage very well for the story, and then you have it really feels like you're at the climax of the ride where it really feels like Brer Rabbit is in danger. This never had that. It never had a point that felt like very intense in the story, you know, it was just kind of the same energy throughout. So that is probably my main issue with this ride. But like Mark said, I think the finale is incredible. I thought it was excellent, and still one of the best rides in the resort. One other issue for me though would be those screens. I prefer that Splash Mountain didn't have any screens, and a few of these stood out to me because I just think the contrast between the amazing animatronics and then all of a sudden just a 2D screen is a little bit jarring. But overall, positive. Very, very good ride.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second what Jack said about the story not being as cohesive. I thought Splash Mountain's story, we said this in the queue line, it was a simple idea, but it was executed well. What'd you think, man?
Honestly, Splash Mountain's my favorite ride of all time, but I gotta go to bat for Tiana's here. I think objectively speaking, it's an improvement in almost every way. Speaking, the animatronics on this ride in those last few years of its running, they were in rough shape. Like, I don't think they would have ever spent the money needed to get Splash Mountain back to its like glory days. So if this is what it takes to get new people to experience a great attraction, great log flume, and carry on the legacy of Splash Mountain, I'm honestly fine with the change here. And I think overall, it fits into the Disneyland park very well. You go from the area around Pirates and like Haunted Mansion, which is very kind of like the party aspect of New Orleans, so to more of the Bayou, which it transitions the American story very well here. So that's all I can say.
Ethan's the only one out of us that has been on both versions of Tiana's, and he does prefer this one. You were saying because of like the dead space
pacing, so you were saying that you weren't a big fan of the dead space. I feel like they took a lot of the dead space over at Disney World and trimmed it down a lot, which helps. So I don't think you'd be the biggest fan of the Disney World one. And the other thing I'd like to say is, so if we could split this up into 3 different like sections in the indoor, the first section I feel like is brilliant. Yep. The second section lacks.
Yes, exactly.
So that's my only problem with this ride, is that second portion. The finale is obviously amazing. So if they were able to like incorporate the villain from Tiana and like have him like lure you down into the Shadow Realm, then get you out of the Shadow Realm and down into Mardi Gras, I feel like that's a perfect attraction. But I'm happy with it overall.
So there you have it. Let's move on to our next attraction. I'm so happy we got on that though. I'm just geeked out, honestly. Guys, we are on the Haunted Mansion Holiday Overlay. Shout out to the homie Elias. He's a fan of the channel that got us on despite the virtual queue system. Incredible. Dude, look at that. That's so cool. They're making a gingerbread. and it smells like gingerbread. That's incredible. Whoa! Look at this room, guys. It's ridiculous. Huge scale. How do they even get this back to normal Haunted Mansion? It's enormous and so different. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is so freaking cool. Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Those were my first ever 2 rides on the holiday overlay version of Haunted Mansion. That was just absolutely incredible. I'm blown away, honestly. I think it's
awesome.
better than
Fantastic.
normal Haunted Mansion.
I think the rarity of it does make it feel more special, but overall, I love the original Haunted Mansion still.
I agree with Ethan. I prefer the original Haunted Mansion, but they
incredible
pour just so much detail into this and pour so much love into it. It's an excellent holiday overlay. This is what holiday overlays should be, really.
Oh, in the middle of the vlog? Fireworks? You could argue, because it's Disney, there has to be. Wow, guys. We're just like casually walking to the back of the park, and the fireworks are ridiculous. Honestly, what better time than to wrap up the vlog than right now? I don't see a better way to do this. I have to say, today went amazing. Shout out Ethan for getting us in.
Hey, come see me at Flo's V8 Cafe, baby.
He's the
By
goat.
far.
He's the GOAT. Disneyland is the best park in America, and today was incredible. It is awesome to have one of the best rides in the resort back. It adds so much energy to the park. And one issue I had with Disneyland in 2024 is that this whole area of the park, since Haunted Mansion was closed for a long time because they're fixing the queue, as well as Splash being closed, is that this whole area of the park was pretty dead. But now it feels like a full park again, where you can take a whole loop around and there's good rides throughout the park. So absolutely incredible.
At minimum, this is a top 3 park in the world. They may not have the best coasters, but their dark ride collection is so varied and so deep that it's actually ridiculous. I mean, come on. How can you argue when there's literally fireworks being blasted in my face at the end of the vlog?
You can't.
I always go back and forth between this one and Fantasyland for my favorite theme park in the world, and I still have no idea after going to both. Pretty close together, so I'm gonna have to give it some thought. This is so loud. Thank you all so much for watching. Fantastic time. Tiana's was great. Love this place. Disneyland, freaking amazing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.